Hey everybody, it is Kathy with Backyard Columbus, and today's podcast episode is about how to create a low maintenance garden. So, my last episode, and the same thing is happening for this one, I usually try to record quite a few episodes at once so I don't get all stressed out because I have a full time job and loads of other things to do. Not that this isn't important to me, it is very important, but I try not to get all stressed out. So, if I do it all at once, then it's good. But today is so sunny, it's actually very cold. I can no longer feel my fingers. And I have a tree pollen allergy. And so my voice is going and my lips are starting to not work. But I am committed to staying outside because, number one, I'd have to haul all my audio equipment back inside, set everything up again. And I just really love being in the sunshine. This is, during the winter, I try to get all of my inside chores done because once I come home from work or have any time off, I literally, well, maybe not literally, but spend just about every waking moment outside, either tinkering, like I have nothing better to do because it makes me happy, or just looking for stuff to take pictures of or learn about or see or whatever. Who doesn't love being outside? I mean, unless you can't be. So anyway, back to today's topic for as long as my lips will move. When I'm talking about a low maintenance garden, two thoughts, and this is going to be two subjects, okay, or two categories. One is the vegetable garden, and the other one would be like your flower garden, your landscaping, and stuff like that. So, low maintenance, whether it's because of ability, money, or time, sometimes you just can't have a big vegetable garden or a big landscape, a lot of stuff to take care of. Or heck, maybe you just have a small patio. If you have a patio home, you simply don't have the room for anything larger. So it's really pretty neat because you can do a lot with just a little bit of space. So I've covered this more extensively. I actually have a whole PowerPoint presentation up on YouTube, how to easily create a vegetable garden. And that's up on my YouTube channel, Backyard Columbus. So all of my stuff, I've tried to make it easy. It's all called Backyard Columbus. So I've covered this more extensively on that PowerPoint, but for today's episode, I'm trying to keep this short. If we're talking about a vegetable garden, raised beds are the easiest way to go. That is very low maintenance. So if you have a yard, you could actually get one 16 square foot garden bed, and that will be very easy to maintain and take care of and get a lot of food from it. If you have less space or perhaps less physical ability to bend over, then you can get those raised cedar beds. And I'm looking at mine. I'm out here, like I said, freezing my butt off on my patio. I'd say these are about 3 feet tall. So possibly wheelchair accessible, but definitely you would not have to bend over. So that's even less maintenance, okay? Very easy because it is also smaller. If you wanted even less to take care of, or I suppose along the same lines of having a raised cedar bed, you could just get some pots. I mean, you could use window boxes to plant your herbs in, or you could have pots with certain kinds of tomatoes or some peppers or whatever, some strawberries. So that's actually my second point is keep it small. So do a raised bed, keep it small. That will be very low maintenance. Keep it close because it's not going to be very low maintenance if you have to walk all the way across your yard to a spot where you never go to. So you're doomed to failure, number one. But number two, it's just not going to be as easy if it was close to your back door or your front door or wherever you get full sun. So I would also say on low maintenance, only grow what you're going to use. I am very guilty, and we have a lot of garden beds, but I am guilty of planting all kinds of things, and I did it again this year because I had a packet of eggplant. I'm never going to get the word right, so I'm just going to stick with eggplant. They're very small little eggplants. Anyway, I don't actually particularly like eggplants, so I'm not sure why I planted them again because they don't take up a little bit of space. I mean, they take up a decent amount of space, but they're so cute. They're like, they look like tie-dyed eggplants, so I planted those again. So that is not very low maintenance. I mean, if you are a tomato and cucumber person, then please just plant tomatoes and cucumbers and make your life easier. That's going to be less you have to take care of versus like you planting a whole bunch more stuff. Okay, so you got to water it and do some weeding or whatever. So I would also say on the last note on vegetable garden, make sure that you pay attention to the light requirements. And for vegetables, it is always the same. They need a butt ton of sunlight every day. So if you are going to plant your vegetable garden in a shady spot, it's going to be very low maintenance because you're going to kill everything. So it needs to be in an area that gets a lot of sunlight. I would say at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. And if you plant it in a very open area, it's going to get all of the light. But southern eastern is your best bet. Northern, if that's the only spot you have, then don't do vegetable gardening or any kind of high light gardening, because you're just not going to get the proper lighting. Okay. So that's it on vegetable gardening. And to be honest with you, flowers, if you would like a flower garden or even any landscaping at all of things that come up every year, then this boils down to one thing: perennials. The most high maintenance kind of landscaping. And so when I say landscaping with what we're doing today, I'm really talking about flowers, okay? So I'm just going to call it flower gardening, because trees, bushes, they just do their thing, okay? You don't really have to fiddle with that. But let's just stick with flowers. And if you get annuals, I see people every year, and like, listen, whatever floats your boat, then it's your yard, and whatever makes you happy, then plant it. But if you are a person that goes out and buys begonias and petunias and even my favorite, zinnias, marigolds, cosmos, all that kind of stuff, those are annuals. And listen, I just spent like over $200 on zinnia seeds. So I love planting zinnias because they will last all summer. Okay, so I know what I'm getting into with that, but we also have a whole entire yard full of perennials. And so that is the point that I was taking a long way around to, is with your landscaping, if you like flowers, then perennials are your friend. And an annual flower, I just had this discussion with somebody the other day. Annual seems like it should come up every year, because annually, that means things happen once a year. But an annual in terms of flowers, it means you have to plant them every year. Okay, so annuals are not the lowest maintenance route you could take. A perennial, that is the kind of flower that comes back every year on its own at the proper season. Okay, and perennials are best planted by seed or by seed in the fall of the previous year. Otherwise, you got to go through this whole process called cold stratification. And that just means you can't go buy a pack of seeds right now that are perennials most of the time. Put them in the ground and expect them to come up this year. That's not going to happen. So I'm trying to save you some money and some hassle. If you are like, shoot, I wanted to get those seeds in the ground last year and I forgot my perennial seeds, like milkweed, or of course I can't think of anything right now. Anything that's a perennial, okay? Larkspur. I'm not a horticulturalist, so I cannot just rip all these things off the top of my head. And I'm trying to think. Coreopsis. Okay, there's one. I got one right. Anyway, if you really want to get that started this year, then I would spend a little bit of extra money and just go buy the plants, okay? Plant those after Mother's Day, or now should be safe if they've been growing outside at the nursery, then they'll be fine. But once those flowers die back this fall, they will come back on their own. So a perennial comes back every year. That is the lowest maintenance flower that you can get, and then you only have to spend money once, and that's it. Okay, so for vegetables, we went over that, and for your flower beds and your landscaping, a perennial will be the easiest thing you can do, and then every single year, without worry, your flowers will come up on their own. So hopefully that will, and I will say also on that note, with a perennial, for ease and for success, make sure you follow the package instructions on where to plant it, meaning the light requirements and the watering requirements, okay? You don't want to put something that normally grows in a boggy, damp, gets a lot of moisture area and put it in an area of your yard that is dry as a bone all the time. You don't want to plant something that requires full sun or full shade and do it in the wrong spot. You would not put a full sun plant in a shady spot. So this is where I always like to encourage people, get familiar with your yard, okay? Like take a stroll, and if there's no reason for you to go around your yard and take a stroll. Then you have not planted enough stuff and made your yard interesting to you so that you want to take a stroll around your yard. I mean, that's why I love our yard so much. We've created all of these pathways. And I mean, I find the most interesting things in our yard. And I'd like to share this thing with you to illustrate the point. My stepson has 3 kids, and they are 10, 8, and 5. And so we've spent the last 3 weekends each giving them their own sleepover because, all these little creatures are different and it's fun to get to know their personality by themselves. Each one of those kids, and it is early April right now, and so there's not a lot going on. And so the first sleepover happened in March, and there is nothing going on in our yard in March that's exciting for a kid to look at. Each of these kids wanted to go and explore the yard. Like there's nothing going on, but they all asked more than once. So the point of that is, I guess we have succeeded in creating an interesting yard for them to want to go explore in, and not just this big swath of grass, a whole yard full of grass that nobody asks to go explore in. So anyway, our yard is full of perennials. And so walk around and see where the light is the long way to this point I was trying to make, is stroll around your yard, see where the light is. So like if you go out at 10 o'clock in the morning and the light seems to be in one spot, go out a couple of hours later and a couple hours after that, and make sure you have picked your full sun spot for your full sun plants. And the north side of the house is always an easy bet for your shade loving plants. Our south side of the house is blocked by huge evergreen trees, so that has created an extra shady spot. But so that's why now I'm making another point. That's why I'm encouraging you to walk around, because I would always tell you that the south side of the house is the highest light you can get, but ours happens to be blocked by trees. So this is why it's important to really make sure you know what your yard looks like and where the light really hits, so that things survive and you don't waste your money and you don't waste your time. Okay. So I hope I've given you a few things to think about on how to keep a low maintenance yard, like create and keep and have a successful low maintenance garden. So if you have any questions, if you would like me to investigate a topic for your landscaping that you've been wanting to know about, I would be up for some ideas. Also, I have a whole list of my own, but I would love to hear what you think also. So have a great day, and always thank you for listening.